Hello and welcome everybody to our training tonight. I'm Marla Stegman and we are so excited to have Ruth Ann Ahnen on to tell us about intermittent fasting / time restricted eating / I don't know what else. There's a lot of information and she's going to clear up some of our questions probably. And so whether you dipped your toes in or you're all in, you're probably going to learn something. So I'm going to let Ruth Ann tell where she's coming from with it and take over.
Great. Thank you for having me, Marla. This health topic is near and dear to my heart. About 4 years ago, I enrolled in a program to become a Certified Natural Health Practitioner, spurred on by my association with Plexus. It caused me to look deeper. And I extended on and went for my Doctor of Naturopath. And my thesis, I wanted it to be on nutrition and its timing and its effect on our lifespan or health span. So how do we optimize? You know, none of us want to be 60 or 70 and not being able to walk and not very healthy for the last 10 to 20 years of our life. We want to be healthy. I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to be climbing hills and meeting Jesus in my sleep. That's what I want. I don't want to be suffering. So I dove deep, and I dove really deep. I've been diving deep for 3 years on this. And one thing that has really been pivotal in my family's health and my health has been the topic of fasting. So there's a lot of information out there about fasting, and tonight I'm going to clear it up and I'm going to share with you all the amazing benefits and how you can use your products in addition to this little tool in your health toolbox. I call it the greatest secret, but it's not so secret really. You know, in today's day and age, there's a new diet born every minute. The most amount of books sold in this country is about losing weight, diet, and you know, you've heard of Atkins and you've heard of paleo and Whole30, and the latest has been keto, and now it's the carnivore diet. But you know what's been around forever and that has worked is fasting. It's back since biblical times and before that with a lot of health and spiritual benefits. But time restricted eating and intermittent fasting have been kind of buzzwords lately, but they're different. So first step I want to start, before I start, I got to make this little disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor. The information I'm going to share is for informational purposes, and it's not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. So I just want to clear that up right away. All right, so let's start by what the different fastings are. You've probably heard all of these terms very interchangeably. The first is intermittent fasting, and that's what was on the graphic to share what I am. So intermittent fasting is prolonged periods of fasting that are not on a regular basis. So anything over 24 hours, anything over 12 hours and beyond, but it's not on a regular basis. So, or it's 12 hours after an overnight period. They're on an irregular schedule, and there are many variations to this. I don't know if any of you have heard of the 5-2 diet. The 5-2 diet is where you eat regularly for 5 days, and for 2 days, you limit your calories to 200 to 500 calories. And there have been clinical studies to show that it is a very effective, and it can be a very beneficial way to utilize fasting. So that would be one kind of intermittent fasting. Another, some people like to fast that 1 day a week. That would be an intermittent fast. All right, so we have that all straightened out. The next is prolonged fasting. And there's a tremendous amount of benefit to periodical prolonged fasting. In fact, there's a scientist out of the University of Southern California named Walter Longo, and he really got me started on the path. He wrote a book called The Longevity Diet, and it's not quote unquote a diet per se. He works in the gerontology department, but also chronic disease department. And he has worked with fasting protocols, and he developed what is called a prolonged fasting. It's a period of about 3 days where you limit your calories you start out at about 800 calories and you limit it down to about 500, and you still get to eat, but your body believes it's fasting. And that is a wonderful strategy for people with severely, like, chronic disease, like type 1 diabetes. You have really severe metabolic issues, obesity, chronic inflammation, and the like. Also, for healthy individuals, it's also good maybe quarterly to do something like that. But I don't really want to get into that one too deep, because I really could talk for long periods of time, but that might be a subject for another, or maybe we can do a little like 5-day in the group, which I could guide something like that. But what we really want to talk about right now is time restricted eating. Okay, time restricted eating, TRE, as we like to call it. And time restricted eating is when our food intake is limited for a few hours and then we fast the rest. Or I shouldn't say a few hours, I would say anything below a 12-12. So 12 hours of fasting, 12 hours of eating. But I am going to talk a little bit later about the optimal number of hours, especially for women, because women are a little bit different than men. So they, and I just wanted to be very clear of what I'm talking about tonight has been developed, and I've learned by reading clinical studies. So some of the words might be a little bit big. Please write down any questions you might have for me. But everything I'm sharing with you is backed by peer-reviewed papers and clinical studies, and not written by some celebrity trying to sell a book and a new way of eating. Okay, so this is coming from science. So here we go. All right, I want you to think about our bodies and why this time-restricted eating might be so effective. Our body's on a circadian rhythm. Every single cell in our body is on a circadian rhythm, and it is guided by the sun. It's guided by when the sun comes up and when the sun goes down. So we have these 24-hour cycles. They're biological, they're hormonal, and they're behavior patterns, and they are optimized to promote our survival. They include the hormones that regulate our sleep and our hunger and our metabolism. Very important. They influence our body's weight, our performance, and our susceptibility to disease and aging. Very important. So 10 to 40%, now that's a very wide margin, of our gene expression is under circadian control. So it is guided by the rhythms of our body. Includes the genes in our brain, our liver, and our muscles. And circadian rhythmacy may have a profound implication on our health span. Very important. So there's a couple key players that guide this circadian rhythm, and one of them is food. Food is very important. It wakes it up and it puts it to bed. So if we are grazing and eating, especially in today's industrialized society where we have food so readily available. So let's say you get up and you have that cup of coffee and you put that cream in it and a little bit of whatever else you put in it, maybe grab a piece of fruit. It's 7 or 8 o'clock. You have activated the clock. Okay, that first bite activates the clock. So, and then we'll have a nice breakfast. We'll have lunch. We'll have our largest meal at dinner. And then we'll sit down for an evening with the family and we may graze. We may have a little snack here and there. And you know what? It's a healthy snack because we've got our carrots, we got our hummus or our snap peas or whatever we decide to snack on. But guess what? We've still got that circadian rhythm activated. All right. So just to give you an idea, so maybe you may wake up at 7 or 8 o'clock, have your first little bite. And you know what? We've been sold a bad bill of goods the last, I don't know how many years, 20 years. Do you remember when doctors told us 6 small meals a day is optimal? It's a bunch of horse hockey. I don't know where they ever came up with it. They did not study insulin. They did not study hormones very well, because you've got that insulin cycle going on all day. And generally, if you think to yourself, I've got to eat 6 meals a day, I better start early to get my 6 meals in, right? So we're grazing for 14 to 18 hours a day. It's crazy. So we have to kind of unthink our thinking on that. In fact, it's kind of interesting when I was going and researching my paper, and I researched the blue zones. You may have heard that term. It's pockets of the world where people live the longest and healthiest. And there's one thing that they have in common. And one thing is they undereat. They have a lower caloric intake, but they eat 2 meals a day and a snack. That's basically how they eat. 2 meals and a snack. And they're not tiny meals. I mean, they're great meals, they're good meals. They don't complain about being hungry. It's just their lifestyle. And generally, they don't deliberately go out and say, I'm going to intermittent fast so I can live a long time. It's just their lifestyle. They eat dinner, they're done. You know, they get up, they do their work, they're active and they're into their 90s. They go off. Their first meal is usually lunch, between 10 and 12. So something there. All right, now we're going to get into a little science, and some of this is going to blow your mind because it did mine. One of the key players in our body's metabolic processes is melatonin. Now, you all know that lovely hormone that helps us fall asleep at night. And that usually starts to lower our cortisol levels, and it's getting us ready to go to sleep. And generally, you want, and that starts about 3 hours before you're going to bed. And it sends messages to other parts of the body, including the pancreas, where it binds to receptors and signals the temporary overnight suppression of insulin. You guys get that? How big that is? Because you're on a circadian rhythm, 3 hours before bed, usually when the sun goes down, melatonin is signaling your pancreas to bind, to stop the receptors, right? So you have a suppression of insulin production. So what happens if you decide to eat something at 8 or 9 o'clock, right? I'm going to have that bowl of ice cream. I've been so good all day. I'm going to have whatever, right? Guess what? Your body is not equipped. Your body's not equipped, doesn't have the insulin to clear it. So you have higher glucose levels when you go to sleep. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to create insulin resistance. And it's not going to happen overnight, but if you have a habit of this, one day you're going to wake up with smoldering inflammation and maybe a type 3 or type 2 diabetes, and you're like, where did that come from? It may be that later in the evening snacking. So also, people who have trouble sleeping. Anybody here have trouble sleeping? Trouble sleeping has been also tied to blood sugar imbalances, high blood sugar. So that's another thing. So if you're not getting good sleep, you're not getting rest, repair, recovery. 3 important things that sleep does. So if you don't get those 3 things, guess what? Your cortisol level never goes down. That's bad, because having a high cortisol level creates inflammation in the body. That leads to chronic disease, right? And you also have, you know what? Somebody just asked, that's a very, very good question. Does higher glucose happen? You know what? Everything has a glycemic level. So, and of course the carbohydrates and the higher sugary foods is going to elevate that, but you're also going to get an insulin response from other foods. And you also want to stop. You want to stop that eating to start that fasting. So you're going to benefit from all these great things I'm going to tell you about. So yes, some things will have a higher spike for insulin. Of course, carb-loaded things will, and fruit, especially sugars and those type of things. So my advice is try not to try not to eat late at night before you go to bed. But yeah, if you're going to have something to snack on, a carrot or some vegetable or something like that, something with a very low glycemic level would be much better. So also those with elevated blood sugar levels, you know, here's what they found. They have called type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's. Something is very similar across the path with people who have diminished brain capabilities, I don't know, brain fog, dementia, and also Alzheimer's, is they always have a relatively higher level of blood sugar. I'm not talking about medically like diagnosed type 2, but that's smoldering right on the, you're good, but you're high. You're good, but you're high. It affects your brain health. Long term, it will affect your brain health. So, all right, so let's get into the awesomeness of this. Let's see what time-restricted eating is going to do for you. You are going to be blown away by this. First thing, number one, this is just on a 12-12, okay? I have a better schedule for you all, but if you're just starting out, a 12-12 schedule, when the sun comes up, when the sun's going down. All right, the first benefit, it reduces inflammation in the body. Big, reduces inflammation. All your metabolic functions improve. And let me tell you, they have done clinical studies that have said that you just need to do this 5 days a week for benefit. If you have 2 bad days during the week, no problem. I mean, optimally, you want to live this lifestyle, but you can get all the benefits that I am sharing with you right now, you can get on a 5-day, 2-day off time-restricted eating. All right. Here's a big one. It increases insulin sensitivity. If you've got belly fat, if you are struggling, especially as women, you know, women and older women. I don't know if any of you young women have, you know, I've worked with quite a few clients that have PCOS, and insulin resistance is huge, plays a huge, and you guys are going to come across people in Plex, you know, customers and clients that are going to come to you that have polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's become very prevalent lately. They have insulin resistance. So time-restricted eating would be very beneficial to them, along with Slim and the Triplex. So, so of course, I told you about nicely insulin sensitivity, helps with your sleep, rest, recover, restore. Here's a big one. This is huge. Oh my gosh. So I just turned 58. I can't believe it. I'm 58 years old. I'm getting into the, you know, I don't feel 58. I feel like I'm like in my 30s, 20s, but let me tell you, my goal is to be, you know, old and active and climbing mountains with my nieces and nephews and having a good old time. Time-restricted eating down-regulates aging pathways. Down-regulates aging pathways. mTOR, growth hormone, and IGF. This is big, people. This is huge. All right. Those of you who have gone through cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, IGF, they have found that people that do time-restrictive eating, they can lower cancer. People who have had cancer can lower their chance, this is breast cancer, of reoccurrence by 36% by practicing time-restrictive eating. That's huge. I just delivered product to a friend who is still in treatment, but it is a great strategy. It's free. It's not hard. But what good news, right? All right. So here's a little something. All right. Actually, I'll save it for later. I'll save it for the end. All right. So autophagy increases autophagy. Big word. AUTOPHAGY. You guys do a deep dive on this awesome, amazing thing our body can do. It's like your vacuum cleaner for your body. It's goes in there. Oh, mitochondria debris, cellular debris. I'm going to clean it up. There you go. It's out. It's gone. Bad cells, precancerous cells, all that autophagy. If you're eating all the time, your body doesn't have time to do that. You got to be fasting for your body to optimize autophagy. It's not even a bad day to maybe fast a little bit longer every once in a while. It is the cleanup, okay? It's the Roomba for your body. But if you never recharge the Roomba, it ain't gonna work, okay? Big, big, big. All right, gets dead cells. Oh my gosh, so awesome. Your repair processes in your body. So once the vacuum cleaner's gone, here, gets the cells out, you need to repair. So it activates your repair mechanisms in the body. All right. Eating within your optimal circadian biology. So your circadian rhythm, generally with the sunrise and sunset. God made us to be on a rhythm. We are all on a circadian rhythm, our cells, everything, okay? So it optimizes your metabolism, window for managing blood glucose levels, and it optimizes your metabolism functions. So if you are having a hard time losing weight, your metabolism can be whack. It will help get it back on track. All right? You're going to have less adipose fat storage. I don't know about you, I don't want no adipose fat storage, especially around my middle, and that's where it likes to hang out. So, you know, we women, the older we get, it kiboshes that, brings it down, all right? You have more weight loss, more fat loss. You have improved cardiac function. Who doesn't want that? A better heart? I want that. Enhanced aerobic capacity. Yes, please, that's for me. I'm a runner, I like that. It shows that studies have shown it can prevent and reverse metabolic disease. Does everybody know what like metabolic disease is? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, all that is enveloped in the metabolic package. So those type of things. All right. And also show that people, see, this is what I am going to recommend. Studies have shown that those who ate in an 8-hour window experienced a 36% reduction in glycemic response and reduced fasting triglycerides. Okay, so you're not going to get those big sugar spikes and down. You're going to have that just indicates to me you have better insulin sensitivity. That kind of goes in that package, all right? So they also showed that by doing an 8-hour window of eating and a 16-hour window of fasting, that it improved your blood pressure the same as if you were taking a hypertensive medication. It had the same results. So if your doctor said to you, hey, I'm going to give you a pill to control your high blood pressure, and you say, no, 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 I think I'll try intermittent fasting instead. Much better, one less pharmaceutical drug. So there you go. All right. All right, here we go, hormones. If anybody is trying to lose weight, it's a hormone issue. I just want to tell you right now, it is a hormone issue. It is insulin and it is cortisol. They're the two bad guys, okay? But there's a couple other hormones that are affected, and that is ghrelin and leptin. You can get leptin resistance, and these two little hormones are our appetite stimulating hormones. They're giving your brain a signal, hey, I'm hungry, feed me. You ever notice how you can eat a bag of chips and still be hungry? Because there's no nutritional value in it. Ghrelin is the little guy giving your brain a signal to say, feed me more. But you know what? You eat a big bowl of steamed broccoli and you're like, golly, I feel like. That's because it has a high nutrient value, and ghrelin's going to send a little signal, ding, ding, ding. Turn it off and you're not hungry anymore, okay? Leptin resistance is also that satiating hormone. That those two together, if you are out of whack, you are not going to be making good choices. So I say those two help you make better choices. 8-hour window brings down your blood glucose and insulin levels and fat mass. Guess what? The good news is no loss of muscle mass. That's big, especially when we're older. Because when you generally, if you're on a bad diet, or if you're, I don't know, losing weight, a lot of times you're going to lose muscle with it. We don't want to lose muscle mass, especially the older we get, we're losing it faster and faster. So we do not want to do that. And listen, turning off the mTOR pathway and all those is going to help you retain muscle mass also. All right, so I love this. It reduces, it increases longevity, but lowers your evening cortisol level. How lovely is that? You're going to sleep better, you can go to sleep better, you can have lower inflammation. Cortisol is a wonderful thing. It gets you up in the morning, all right? It gives you all that energy, but by the time you go to bed, you should be relaxed and able to settle down and get a good night's sleep, right? So low cortisol levels is really, really important. So turn off your blue screen, turn it off a couple hours. Those of you that are workaholics, and I see one right now, I know her, she's related. I see a couple. They're working late at night. Turn it off. You need a good night's sleep. You need to lower cortisol. Okay? All right. So you have a higher BDNF. What's a BDNF? BDNF is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a big, long word. And I'm just going to tell you, it's healthy for the brain. All right? It's like a brain vitamin. It gives you focus. It helps you. It's medicine for your neurotransmitters, so everything's firing correctly. Brain health, okay? So when you're 80 or 90, you don't have to look at your kids and go, what was your name again? You need it, BDNF, okay? BDNF, or even when you're younger, you know? So, okay, here is, all right, we already talked about autophagy. I'm going to go back to autophagy for just a second, because we're going to talk about autophagy and this darn little coronavirus we have going on, right? All right, we're going to go out in the world, and it's safe, kids. It's safe, everybody, all right? As long as you boost your immune system and you're healthy and you're practicing good, safe practices. I believe that, you know, mixing our bacteria and viruses, it will help weak adrenals. Somebody made that mention. Yes, it is safe for weak adrenal. In fact, it is going to be very excellent for your adrenals because it gives your adrenal glands a little bit of a rest to recover, to restore. All right. Sometimes when we're eating, that causes stress in itself. So that's great for your adrenal glands. All right. So, all right. Virus and immunity. Autophagy helps with that. Now, under the umbrella of autophagy is something called xenophagy. Okay, maybe that's the dustbuster of the Roomba. I don't know if we can relate like that. But all right, xenophagy. It's a function of our innate immune system, and that's the immune system that's in our body past our digestive tract. That it's our immune system's memory. It activates our innate immune system's memories. So if we come in contact with a bad virus or a bad bacteria, xenophagy, it remembers those bad guys. It creates immune memory. So the next time they decide to come in and try to get in, they have that memory and it signals the immune system. So xenophagy is very important to optimize that immune system memory. It can stimulate growth hormone, which as we get older is reduced, and that is also important in maintaining muscle mass. So I talked briefly about the two important hormones that were important for weight loss, insulin and cortisol. So too much insulin resistance and overactive cortisol is going to drive fat storage. Okay, those two things drive fat storage. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what is optimal and how do we put our supplements into this thing called intermittent time restrictive eating. Sorry about that. See, I even say intermittent fasting. It just flows off the tongue, but they're different. All right. So 12-12 window for a lot, that would be pretty easy. You know, you wake up at 8, you have your breakfast, you go to bed at 8. But optimally, they found for women is an 8 to 9 hour eating window, and the rest will be fasting. Now, what I love about time restricted eating is number one, you know the guidelines. I can't eat before this time and I'm done at this time, right? There's no fooling around. There's no like, oh, could I just have a couple more carrot sticks, or what am I going to eat? It's free. It's pretty easy, right? It trains our willpower, which I love that. And I just find knowing an exact window is much easier perhaps than dieting and whatnot. They actually did a study where they had 3 different groups, and one group, they all ate the same thing. They all ate the same thing. And those that were doing time restricted eating lost the largest amount of weight. So they had, in obese, they had like a 3% higher weight loss, even eating all the same. But you're working with your body's own metabolic, your circadian rhythm. So your metabolism is always more in the morning, and it wanes, it slows down as the day progresses. So best is an 8 to 9 hour window. So perhaps you have breakfast between 9 and 10, you break your fast. That's where the word comes from, break the fast from your 9 to 10. So then you'd have dinner around 5 or 6 and you'd be finished for the day, right? So how does Plexus fall into those windows? Well, here's some rules for optimizing time restricted eating. Number 1, you can have tea and coffee. Okay, tea and coffee. That doesn't activate your metabolism. Caffeine is okay, but you can't put the sugar, you can't put the cream, you can't put all the other stuff into it because it's metabolized through the liver and the digestive tract, and it kind of wakes up and starts the clock. Okay. Also, amino acids activate, no collagen, nope, because collagen is a protein, and amino acids activate the IGF, mTOR, and aging pathways. So I hate to say it, but no collagen. Stick to tea or coffee. That's kind of my rule there. If you want the full benefits of time restricted eating, okay? So the hard thing I think it will be for many of us, yes, just during your fasting period, yes, coffee, tea, water, and those. Good question. So, and they've done studies on this. There's been clinical studies on this. So amino acids activate those pathways that I talked about. So you want to stay in that fasting window. So here's the thing with Plexus products like your vitamin, omega X, I would say magnesium. I know we have it in between, but a lot of times our supplements taken with a meal are the optimal time to take them because they need cofactors to get absorbed the best. So I know for me, it's been difficult changing and doing my ProBio 5 and my Bio Cleanse because I always do my vitamin, all my supplements at bed because I want easy peasy. I want not have to worry about it. But what we've been doing is brushing and flossing right after dinner, and I take my supplements right after I'm finished with my meal. And then I know it's done. The door's closed. I'm done for the night. My teeth are clean. I don't want to, it's kind of like, I don't know. The thought of having like a snack or something and having to go through all that again, just no. So, so that might be a good strategy for somebody. You know what? I would say, Gina, that's a good question with Vital Biome. Can you take that with your breakfast in the morning? Would that be so difficult to take it with breakfast or after a meal? Or let's say you finish eating at 6, you wake up at 9 and you want to take your Vital Biome, take that Vital Biome, and then, you can eat right then, or if you want to put up your meal with a little bit, a little bit later. So I just want to share a brief story, and I shared it before, but my husband was, he had a heart procedure back in, well, you can take it when you wake up, vital biome, it's your empty stomach, then wait an hour and have your breakfast. You want to do it that way. Your time is just going to begin when you take that probiotic. All right, you're just going to start the clock. So, but anyways, he was, we were in the hospital and he had AFib, and he got tested and he had a high A1C that classified him as type 2 diabetes. And he was, yes, assumed correctly. And I don't know what it is, but he did not, he's okay with me sharing it now, but he did not want anybody to know. You just don't want, I don't know. And you don't want to be labeled that, because it seems like society labels that as a, what do they label it? Because of how your lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle kind of disease. And a lot of times it is. But it can be reversed. Let me tell you, anybody that out there that has type 2 diabetes and it can be reversed, and you don't have to live the rest of your life with that label on you. Because once your A1Cs are in normal range, you're not type 2 diabetic, right? You're in the normal range. So anyway, so we had a lovely nurse come in and talk to us, and wanting to give him insulin and shoot him up and say, you're going to be taking this, and here's what you should be eating and all that. And she left the room, and I looked at him and I said, you are not type 2 diabetic. You have an insulin resistance problem, and you can turn this around. So we went immediately into, he takes his Slim. The block is a great product, Blocker Balance, for blocking carbohydrates. And it works because we would test his blood sugar and it would be perfectly normal after consuming carbs. It's a great product for when you want to cheat, because we can't all be perfect. But the main strategy is time restrictive eating. And we do this to this day. So he will eat, he's on like an 6 to 8 hour window, but here's what happened. And he cut out carbs. So in our little health toolbox boxes, we need a lot of things. It can't be just one thing. So we need eating strategies that follow the way God made us, which was on a nice circadian rhythm, right? We need good natural herbs and supplements, because our soil is so dang depleted. And then eating good natural plant-based products. So plant-based foods, I would stick to that and try to minimize your meat, the amount of meat and proteins that you eat. But anyways, so long story short, he went from an 8.0 in 3 months to like a 5.2. 3 months. He's no longer insulin. He's no longer type 2 diabetic. And he dropped a lot of weight. He dropped quite a bit of weight. And the really nice side effect of this was his metabolic panel all went down. His cholesterol went down, his blood pressure went down, inflammatory markers, everything went down. So, and then with our daughter, when she went through cancer treatment, time restrictive eating was a major part of the recovery. Because you know what, after cancer treatment, oh my gosh, autophagy, you want 5 Roombas going after that, with all the cellular debris and toxins and things like that. So anyways, I think just to wrap it up, highly recommend it. It's an easy strategy. It's free, doesn't cost any money. It works great with our products. It goes hand in hand. It's like the holy smokes, Tony Schedule. Thank you, darling. He drinks coffee, he drinks a decaf, doesn't activate anything. Plus, you guys, coffee is awesome. It's got all kinds of good beneficial qualities to it. But he usually has a very large salad at noon, full of vegetables. He makes the world's biggest salad because he knows he's just going to have dinner. And then we usually eat between 5 and 6. And He'll brush his teeth, do the water pick and all that, and then he's done on most nights. We're not perfect on it. You know, the weekends we like to have a few adult beverages and chicken wings. So we're not perfect, but it's been huge as far as health benefits. And I do it too. His products, he's Omega X, he's X Factor, Lock, Slim, and ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. So those are his. And he'll take an occasional ease in there, but that's what he's on. So I hope that everybody's a little smarter about it. I hope it's been beneficial to y'all. So
we'll open it up to questions if you just want to unmute yourself and.
So Ruth, was that he just takes X Factor, not X Factor Plus?
He can't do X Factor Plus because he's on things for right now, because he had an AFib ablation surgery. He has to be on a blood thinner. So X Factor is what he takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So does he take this with his meals at lunch and at supper time? When does he drink his Slim and all that?
With his lunch. Later. He's coffee in the morning. He's decaf coffee. So.
I've heard varying opinions on breaking your fast with protein versus more sugar, fruits. What do you recommend? What do you think is best? Have you found any studies that really support anything with that?
Here's my suggestion on eating. If you have blood sugar issues, fruits are high in sugar, and I always recommend eating fruit before 2. Stop your fruit. 2 o'clock is kind of our window. And try to stick to fruits that have a low glycemic level, like your strawberries, your blackberries, your blueberries, your raspberries. So I would stick to fruit in the morning. Your metabolism is highest in the morning. It's most efficient. They found that people that they had different groups of people that ate this exact same meal at different times of the day, like instead, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they found that your metabolism was highest in the morning. So, and that makes sense because your cortisol's a little higher. Your body's going to be a little bit more insulin sensitive, so you can clear out and use food as energy earlier in the day. So I'm kind of, with what I'm researching, want to do more carb in the morning and a little bit more protein fat later in the day. That's kind of my opinion on it.
What about working out? Do you like to work out in the mornings during the fast, or is it better after work while you're eating?
Well, that's a great question. I personally, the other thing that activates autophagy, your Roomba, is exercise, especially HIIT training, high intensity interval training is wonderful. And what I love about that is it uses your glucose stores. Here's another thing. So your body, you're going to eat in your little window, and your body's going to store excess glucose in your liver and your muscles, and it's going to be ready to be used, right? So you've had all night with your fasting. You're going to work out. I mean, I work out in the morning, but I am further depleting those energy stores. So guess what happens? My body needs to learn how to use fats for energy. So I'm developing a better working machine, because my body will now have to dig into my fat stores. And if you only live on carbs, like if you are not taking a break and just living on carbs and it usually takes 12 hours to deplete those glycogen stores, but a little bit faster if you're working out. So you deplete those glycogen stores and then your body is burning fat. So I love that because it becomes more efficient.
So say your window is, you stopped your eating at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to eat again at noon. If you work out at like 6 in the morning, is it bad not to eat? Because, you've been trained to have protein right after you, especially if it's muscle, weightlifting, body, HIIT endurance. What's your thoughts on that?
I've done a little bit of studying on that. And I am not convinced. Generally you want recovery you want to do a protein and a carb, kind of they do for optimal recovery. But I've also read other things, and there's new science coming out all the time, right? So if my body can break down ketones are very good for muscle and for repair and things. My thing is what I will drink is about an hour after working out, because I usually work out 6 to 7. I'll come home and have my coffee, and then probably around 10 I'll have an active. I like my active, and I'll have like maybe 2 eggs, a little bit of protein. That's what I eat, or some oatmeal or walnuts. I like my walnuts, and my pecans are what I usually eat, kind of to tide me over. But I work out fasted, and I do not really consume any calories until a couple hours after. And I'm doing okay. I have, teaching my body to be a good fat burner. So I'm letting it just kind of run. And you know what? I still have to do a little bit more research in that department, but I'm getting mixed signals from the science community on that. Now, if I am an Olympic athlete, I'm a swimming coach. That's also what I do. So I train athletes that are all Americans, that are Olympic trial qualifiers, and that is probably not a strategy that I would use on them, because here's my purpose. My goal is not to build big muscles. My goal is kind of centered on living a good, healthy, long life. And I do not want to turn on that IGF pathway or the mTOR pathway. And I just want to keep them quiet for a little while, Now, I mean, that's probably 4 out of 5 days out of the week that I will do that. And then the other day I'll eat a little bit earlier, but that's generally how I do it. So, but I definitely, like with my swimmers in the morning, because I coach high school girls, they come in and work out at 5 a.m. And I know there's a lot of nutritionists, and I've listened to them because I go to these big coaching clinics, and they're doctors of nutrition and they do nutritional science. And the kids work out for an hour, and I'm like, it is not going to hurt you to use your glucose and use a little bit of fat in working out in the morning. So they'll work out hard for, an hour and a half. And all of them are like, I can't eat because I don't feel sick to my stomach. I said, you're fine. You're depleting your glucose stores right now. And as long as you have some kind of, like Active is a great recovery and good drink for them to be drinking in the morning, but actually having something, like a peanut butter sandwich or something, I go, it's not necessary. And I said, you might want to, there's another word called hormesis. I love that word, hormesis. And what that is when you put your cells under stress, but not too much stress, they get stronger. So fasting also is a hormetic, for your body and for your cells. So they're put under a little bit stress, so they get a little bit stronger. So athletes put under hormetic stress because maybe a little bit of lack of nourishment is not necessarily bad. So, And I've done ultra marathons. I've done a lot of adventure things, climbing mountains and that kind of stuff. And if you can train your body to live off a bit of fat pretty easily, it comes in very handy when you're doing those type of things. So, like I said, we're not very convertible. We're big, I need food to have energy, not necessarily so. So.
I have a question for you. So
Yes, Angie Bro.
hello. So first of all, I love this. This is fantastic. Thank you. Lots of notes scribbled in my notebook, and I have learned that I am already doing the time restrictive eating, not intermittent fasting. But so that does bring questions to my mind. When do you feel incorporating, do you think it is beneficial to incorporate in periodic intermittent fasting as well, or is it best to just leave it with the time restrictive eating?
It's very beneficial to have longer periods of fasting from 24 to 74. Actually, from Dr. Longo, and if we could do another class on that, to guiding you through if you ever want to. But his whole thing is your body. There is I don't have it off the tip of my tongue, but there's something the body releases. I'll have to find it. But anyways, you need this certain thing released in order to have stem cell repair. You guys have all probably heard the latest, greatest science is stem cell. And that's very important, but you can stimulate your body's own stem cell response. So if you have damaged cells, for instance, diabetics, their pancreas is damaged, right? So Dr. Longo has actually been able to reverse chronic disease like type 1 diabetes through this, they call it prolon fasting, PROLON fasting, which is you're never not eating, but you're eating foods and it's such a low caloric intake that your body believes it's fasting. Mm. And he does this with patients who are, patients who are type 1 diabetic once a month for the first few months. But somebody who is relatively healthy doing it quarterly or doing it, twice a year can be extremely beneficial for your health. So I wanted to do a 5-day one because I think it, here's the thing when I would love to do it. And maybe this would be a good time to do it as a group, but seasonally in the change of the seasons. We tend to forget that we are part of ecology, of our ecosystem around us. I mean, our body works on the rhythms of the earth. I don't know about you, but when we sleep and wake up, the sun wakes us up, and springtime is a time of renewal. Everything's kind of renewal. We have a time where things are rather dormant. I just think it's really a nice habit. And I will do a detox seasonally, but I have not done a prolonged fast, but I've been very interested because of all the medical benefits that go along with it. So, but it's something, that's another tool you can put in your toolbox. But I like the fact that you still get a little bit to eat every day. You don't have to, it's just water. All we can have is water. So.
Because like on the 5-day, it's pretty much bone broth, right? And water and.
No.
No?
No, it's cruciferous vegetables and other things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes from 700 calories down to 300 to 500. So it's not all bone broth. You actually get to chew. It's good.
Ruth, when I was going through cancer treatments, after my first treatment, a friend listened to him at UCLA and called me and said, read this guy's book. So I didn't read everything. I just read some of it, but I was already hooked on it. My oncologist at the time wasn't keen for me to do fasting because I lost 10 pounds after my first treatment, but I ended up sending him an email, and he contacted my oncologist and explained to him that I'm not going to let this girl not eat for 3 days. I'm just going to let her eat certain things that makes her body think that she's fasting, but she's not. And so I did it. I had 6 more treatments of chemo and then 17 of Herceptin. And so I fasted 3 days before and 3 days after. And I really believe it made a difference.
We did, my daughter had cancer and we fasted her before her chemo treatments. But you know what? We didn't tell her doctor because he was kind of, I'm like, what could it hurt?
Yeah.
And then after 2 treatments, the good Lord healed her and she had very few side effects. I mean, we were very blessed and we still are to this day, but I mean, how awesome is that? That is great. So there you go, a testimony. Walter Longo, I love that. It's a remarkable book. Where is that book? Let me see.
This woman is reading all the time. I don't know how she finds time to do it, but
so I can help people, Darlene.
I don't know how you do it.
Because we've been lied, you know why, Darlene? Because we've been lied to.
Because you're 50 years younger than I am.
No, listen, I didn't start on. I'm thankful for Plexus because I probably would have not gone so deep down this path. And God made us incredible, and I really believe that our body is made to heal, to fight off invaders, we can reverse so many things. I mean, what we put in our mouth, but we are being bombarded. Let me tell you, listen, we have an obesity problem in this country. We do. We have cardiovascular issues, and we are in the whole world. We take more pharmaceutical drugs than any country in the world, and we are the sickest first world country. We're like 43 on scale of health. And why is that? Because they are changing our crops. They're changing our crops. We are exposed to so many toxins. The European Union, I mean, we all know this with our skincare. The European Union has banned over 1,004 things. The US, less than 10. And you know who is the biggest sufferers? Women, because it's in our cosmetics. It's in our perfumes. It's in everything. Men, all they do is do deodorant, but we are bombarded with those special shampoos and everything else. I mean, it's an assault on us. Don't even get me started about personal care products and all those other things. Think about it. Think about it. And we are the mothers and we're teaching our kids, and it just, oh, I wish I had started. Sorry, I'm kind of off on my, you know, and, you know, we're sold a bad bill of goods that we need to look a certain way, we need to feel a certain way, and it's killing us. It's killing us. Women do more things that are detrimental to their health to look good. You know, and if we just, God has given us so much in the form of our food, and oh my goodness, so much. We take birth control. We do, I mean, there's so many things that affect women's health that you really have to look at, you know. Sorry, I just kind of went down a bad pathway, but.
No, this has been great. I just appreciate you so much, Ruth, and Mariki, for sharing your experience too. That's very helpful. I hope does anyone have any other questions?
We went a little over, didn't we? I'm so sorry.
We did, but it was all good, right? Most everybody stayed. We're only at 28. We're up to 31 when we lost 3. So
there you go. All right.
But thank you so much. And I did record it, so I will get it downloaded and put it in our Glammy Gutsy group and share it with you, Ruth, also. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, so thank you all. And Wednesday night, we have another wellness event where we have 6 lovely ladies sharing their health stories with Plexus. So you guys are welcome to come to that. Mariki's going to share hers. Ruth and Megan was on too, I think. So pretty exciting stuff. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Angie, you got to come Thursday.
See you soon.
All right, bye.